From the Timeout Overtime Beck Chevrolet YouTube channel. This is Timeout Overtime. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal. And before we get started, you please do me a favor. Go down there in that corner and hit the like and subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Uh, we've got a lot to go over tonight, a lot to cover, a lot to get to. Not a whole lot of time in which to do it. So we'll start right out here. Timeout Overtime is sponsored in part by Frank Beck Chevrolet and M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. You know, if it's time for a new to you vehicle, let the sales professionals at Beck's help you choose the right vehicle. Whether it's new or pre-owned, Beck's has the top selection in the tri-state area with over 200 vehicles in stock. So stop by and see for yourself. And when you're ready, ask for Russ McMorty, Chris Hodis, Danny Smith, Adam Schaefer, Blake Bryant, Cameron Mincio, or their newest sales professional, Bob Flint. Yeah, that guy, Bob Flint, the one and only. And when it comes time to service that new to you vehicle, the service pros at Beck's can fix it. Any make, any model, Ford or domestic, Beck's can fix it. And if you have a bit of a crunch or fender bender, Beck's Body Shop can put it back together just as good as new. So for all your automotive needs, look no further than Frank Beck Chevrolet on N99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville at 517-849-2886 or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Come experience the Frank Beck difference. And together, let's drive. First, get you caught up on what's going on in the NHL and NBA playoffs. They're both about ready to get into their conference finals now. They're getting very close. In fact, we already know who's going to be in the NHL conference finals. So let's go over that. In the West, in the NHL West, the Canucks are at playing at Edmonton tonight. They have a 3-2 lead. They can punch their ticket to the Western Finals with a win tonight. Otherwise, that series goes back to Vancouver for a Game 7 on Monday night. I'm going to switch up a little bit. I'm going to switch over to the East right now. Last night, the Panthers punched their ticket to the Eastern Finals with a 2-1 win over Boston. In fact, we already know right now who's playing in the Eastern Finals. It's going to be the Rangers and the Panthers, and that should be a good one. It starts Wednesday night at Madison Square Garden. The games 1 and 2 are Wednesday and Friday night in New York. That should be a good series because I truly think these are the two best teams in the East, in the NHL East. They played very well during the regular season. Both teams dominated pretty much the entire season. It's carried over to the playoffs. I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm anxious to see that series. Going back to the West, last night the Stars beat the Avalanche 2-1. So they're in the Western Finals. I was a little bit surprised. That series only went 6 games. I thought the Avalanche would give them more of a fight than they did. We don't get to see Dallas that much because they're in the West. Obviously, they have a very good team. Anyway, Dallas moves on to the Western Finals, and they will play the winner of Vancouver and Edmonton. And as I told you, over in the East, the finals over there are already set. The Rangers will be playing the Panthers starting Wednesday night in New York. I'm anxious to see that series. So should be a good one. Looking over the NBA, you got several Game 7s coming up. You got the tomorrow night, you got the Thunder and the Mavericks. Dallas leads that series 3-2. And you've also got the T-Wolves and the Nuggets. That's a Game 7 tomorrow night at 8. That should be a good one. Looking over in the East, the Knicks and the Pacers are in a game 7 tomorrow at 3:30. That should be a good one. I still think the Knicks are going to win that, and they will be. Pardon me. The winner takes on Boston. That should be again. I think it's the two best teams in the NBA East. So we've got some good matchups coming up here. I think it pretty well gets us caught up on what's going on in the NBA and the NHL. As far as the Tigers in baseball goes, they did get out of their hitting woes last night in a big way. Season high in runs with 13, season high in hits with 17. For some reason or other, when Skubal is pitching, Jared Skubal now is 6-0 on his way to a Cy Young, maybe, possibly right. He's got to be in the running right now. But for whatever reason, they score runs for him and nobody else. But because Jack Flaherty is pitching tonight, right now Flaherty is 0-3 with an ERA of 3.88, and that's pretty darn good. He'll be opposed by Zach Gallen, who's probably the Diamondbacks' best pitcher. He's 5-2 with a very good ERA of 2.86. Back when Dan Dickerson signed off last night, he kind of cautioned everybody that tonight will not be nearly as easy as it was last night. I'm predicting he'll get shut out tonight, and probably tomorrow again when they go up against Jordan Montgomery. Anyway, Matt Manning, speaking of tomorrow, Matt Manning 0-1, 4.37 going for the Tigers. As I said, it'll be Jordan Montgomery 2-2 with a 4.76 ERA. The Tigers, pardon me, the Tigers did make a minor move today. I guess I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. They acquired a left-handed relief pitcher from the Oakland A's by the name of Easton Lucas, Lucas. Or in order to make room for him on the 40-man roster, they designated a right-handed reliever by the name of Ty Adcock for assignment. Lucas will immediately go down to Toledo, but he's on the 40-man roster. I mentioned too the Oakland A's. They're still the Oakland A's yet for the rest of the season, I guess. But for the next 3 years after this, they will be playing their home games in Sacramento. It's a minor league ballpark, seats about 15,000. That's the home of the Sacramento Bees. 15,000. That's about triple what they're averaging now at the Alameda County Coliseum. A good night for them is about 4,500. That's pathetic. So they, like I said, the next 3 years they'll be playing in Sacramento. Get you caught up on the standings here too. Probably the two best teams in the American League, at least record-wise. Anyway, the Yankees over there in the American League East, 31-15. Baltimore's just a game behind at 28-14. Two really good teams. I'm a little bit surprised too, as I told Andy this morning. The Yankees aren't missing Garrett Cole too badly, are they? About as much as the Guardians are missing their ace, Justin Bieber. The Guardians. I can't, to me, I just can't get used to saying Guardians. I still want to call them the Indians. This is going to take a while. Anyway, the Cleveland Guardians are in first place in the American League Central with a record of 28-17. I didn't see this coming. I just didn't. The KC Royals are in second place, game and a half back at 27-19. I didn't see that happening either. Folks, Kansas City lost more than 100 games last year. How they're doing this now is beyond me. I don't know. The Twins, who got off to a rough start, who kind of righted the ship, are 24-20. They're in third place, 3.5 games back. Tigers are all even 22-22. They're 5.5 back. And of course, then the White Sox bring up the rear 14-31. 14 full games out of first place. As I said, the Tigers are in today and tomorrow. They're still in Phoenix yet, playing the Diamondbacks. and they will stop on the way back to Detroit. They'll make a stop in Kansas City and play 3 games there. Maybe they can make up a little ground on the Royals, but I doubt it. Don't count on it. And if you weren't hearing me very well, I forgot to plug in my microphone, so I'm hoping you're hearing me a lot better now than you were. If the sound was bad, I apologize. Looking at the Lions, they begin OTAs, organized team activities, next Tuesday in Allen Park. That'll run through Thursday. I expect to see Dan Campbell back. As you know, he missed the rookie mini camp last week for personal issues. The Lions assured us it was nothing too concerning, so let's hope everything is all right on that side, or that effect. Before I go any further, I'd like to put in a good word for a good man who, without his assistance, I wouldn't be able to do this. Jim Lindley at Quality PC, downtown Hillsdale at 37th Waldron Street. The place to go for all your tech needs, whatever it is. Tim we're so lucky to have a man with his tech savvy and tech knowledge in our area. If it's anything, computers, new or used, or maybe the computer you have now needs a little work done on it, it's kind of sluggish, take it in there, Tim will bring it up to snuff for you. Maybe you just bought a big flat screen, smart TV, you need it mounted, programmed, set up. Tim will do that for you. Anything. Printers, new or used. Tim's the man you want to see. You can call him at 517-610-5372. Or better still, get in there and see him. Like I said, he's at 37 Waldron Street, downtown Hillsdale. That's about a couple hundred feet west of Howell, on the north side of the street. You can't miss it. And when you do get in there, tell him Rick sent you. Would you please? I'd appreciate that. Thank you. If you have a yearning or to see every NFL game this upcoming season, you're gonna need at least 4 different streaming systems. I think it's up to 4 right now. Anyway, I get a breakdown of what this might cost you if you were thinking about subscribing to all these systems or services, rather. Peacock, that's $6 a month or $60 a year. For ESPN Plus, that's pardon me, $10.99 a month or $109.99 a year. They'll each have 1 exclusive game straight. The 2 games Christmas Day, you're going to need Netflix for that. That's $7 a month. Like I said, those are the 2 games exclusively on Netflix on Christmas Day. And then, of course, there's Amazon Prime. That's $14.99 a month or $139.99 a year. And they will have every Thursday night game. I guess Al Michaels will be back to do all those with yeah, I think he's back. I think he's got a private jet that gets him around now with Kirk Herbstreit. I guess I don't know if Herbstreit's coming back or not. Thought I heard he was out of that. I don't know. Anyway, if you have a desire to see every NFL game and you want to do all this streaming, it's going to cost you more than $800 a year. Folks, the NFL is trying to drain you from your last penny. Excuse me just a second. And their latest little fiasco of the NFL, if you haven't heard. I want to mention something too about Lion season tickets, but I just want to bring this up to you. As you know, this is the first year for college football Division I. They're going from their 4-team playoff format to 12 teams. So obviously there'll be a lot more playoff games on than there have been in the past. A big day for them will be Saturday, December 21st, when they will air 3 games, similar to what the NFL does on Thanksgiving Day. I don't obviously we don't know who's paired up in those games yet, but the point I'm trying to make is that when the NFL schedule came out on Wednesday, surprise, surprise, they are bucking college football. There will be a doubleheader on that day. NFL doubleheader on Saturday, December 31st, going directly up against college football. The matchups will be the first game will be the Texans and the Chiefs. Pretty good matchups. Texans and the Chiefs in a divisional game between the Steelers and the Ravens. Now, they could just as easily have these games on Sunday like they do week 1 through 15. But they've decided to buck the college football playoffs. What they're telling us, folks, is what they're telling they're thumbing their nose essentially at college football and telling them we don't care anymore. Just like Andy and I were talking this morning about the 2 games they're going to be having on Christmas Day. What's that going to do to the ratings of the NBA games? You know, the NBA has always more or less made Christmas Day the unofficial, even though it begins much earlier than that, the unofficial opener for their season on Christmas Day. And now you've got 2 NFL games, and obviously that's going to affect the ratings dramatically for the NBA games. I haven't seen the schedule of what their games are going to be yet, but get out of their way. The NFL is coming through, folks. Just stay out of their way. I'd like to mention something too about the contract that the Lions Jared Goff signed earlier in the week. A couple of particulars coming out involving that contract. We now know that there's a no trade clause in there. Goff has made it known that he wants to finish his career in Detroit. He signed a 4-year contract. That doesn't include the final year of this contract. So Lions have him locked up for the next 5 years. What does that say for Hendon Hooker, who spent the entire offseason living with Teddy Bridgewater in Miami? He's just a couple of years younger than Goff. Does he have to think that he's going to be a career backup? Because if he sticks around for the next 5 years, he could win a couple of Super Bowls and get a ring, but it's up to him. And I'm sure he's being counseled by Bridgewater on this, but if you were the Lions brass, I mean, is it possible he would come to the Lions and request a trade? That's possible, but I doubt it. No. Like I said, he's been under the counseling of Teddy Bridgewater. Hopefully he's getting good advice. This day and age, you never know when a quarterback's going to get hurt. You need a good backup. And there have been other quarterbacks before that have made a career of being a backup quarterback. I'm sure he'll be paid handsomely if the Lions are successful. Anyway, food for thought. I don't see the Lions trading him. I mean, what would you get for him? A 3rd round pick at best, maybe a 4th round pick. Backup quarterbacks, as often as your first string quarterbacks go down, are a very important part of any team. So let's hope he is here during the duration of Jared Goff's tenure here. You got to have a backup. Too, I noticed, got a couple more articles I'd like to go over with you here. I'll just paraphrase, if I can. The 3 contracts that the Lions have signed in the last month with St. Brown and Sewell and Goff total about $444 million. But The Lions are still a little more than $31 million under the cap yet. So they do have some money to play with. If they wanted to go out and sign somebody, yet they could between now and when camp opens up on July 29th. They'll put the pads on around August 1st. The preseason schedule, we do know who they're playing, but we don't have the times or the dates for those yet. We do know the first game is against the Giants in New Jersey, and apparently the Lions will be returning the favor. As you know, the Giants, before the first preseason game last year, were in Allen Park for a couple of joint practice sessions. I think the Lions will be returning the favor this year. They'll spend a couple of days in New Jersey with the joint practices before they play the Giants in their initial preseason game. They're playing a game in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Like I said, we don't have a time or day for that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a national broadcast on CBS or Fox. Final preseason game is at home at Ford Field against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, no time or date. All these games will be on the Lions network, which is in our area, Fox 47. So, one last thing before we depart here. I've got too many notes. The Lions have the 11th toughest, this according to the NFL. Wanted to bring this to your attention. The Lions have the 11th toughest schedule this season. And how do they figure that out? Well, that strength of schedule is based off the opponent's winning percentage from last season, from last year. And that winning percentage from the teams that they played last year combined is 0.509 from last season. Having said that, the Lions actually are favored in 13 of their 17 games coming up in 2024. Under Dan Campbell, by the way, I was a little bit surprised to see this. The Lions are 36-17 against the spread. 36-17 against the spread under Dan Campbell. DraftKings, by the way, has set the Lions win total this coming season at 10.5. I think that's the highest in the NFC North. I think it is. I think the Packers are 9.5. So now, have we gone through everything here? I don't want to miss anything, skip anything. Make sure we briefly got you up to snuff on everything going on here. I think we have. One more thing. I did want to say something about season tickets. The Lions have announced, they announced last week for the second consecutive year, they have sold out season tickets. In spite of the fact that when they initially did this last year, you had a lot of season ticket holders complaining, saying they can no longer afford their tickets. They're going to have to simply give them up. And the Lions basically were saying, no problem. We've got a long waiting list. We've got people behind you ready to scarf those up as soon as you relinquish them. Well, apparently that's what happened because they're sold out again this year. But if you enter into a commitment with the Lions and you are a season ticket holder, you must read all the fine print. Why? Because if you think you're gonna pay a hefty price for these season tickets and then turn around and sell them and make a little money, think again. I just found out about this last week. If you are a season ticket holder and you sell more than 5 games, if you sell your tickets, the Lions will revoke your season tickets and you cannot reapply for them for a year. That's a fact. Now, how do the Lions know you're selling your tickets? I don't know. They got somebody there at the game checking to see who's sitting there. Yeah, they can do that. I wasn't aware of it, but so like I said, if I'm a season ticket holder and I've already sold 5 of my games, they're playing 9 home games this year. So game number 6, if I sell those on StubHub or whatever, say goodbye to your season tickets. The Lions are going to take those away from you. And like I said, you cannot reapply for them for a full year. And by that time, there's probably another waiting list. What's it coming to? Huh? What's it coming to? By the way, we're doing this now. I think we've got a set schedule every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, provided I got a voice or I'm not sneezing all day or whatever. The summer allergies are kicking in now, folks. So I think summertime is here to stay. Kind of looks that way if you look at the forecast anyway. So I think that does it for us. I think I've got you up to snuff on everything here. Don't forget, every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 here locally on WCSR 92.1 FM, Time Out Show with Andy Brown. And I will talk to you folks all again on Tuesday. So until then, have a good rest of your weekend. Take care of yourselves. Treat everybody with respect.